So hey y'all, I'm back with another video. So tonight's video is yet again another Chioma Chats video podcast edition. Let's go ahead and cue that theme song. Chioma Chats. Chioma Chats. Chioma Chats. Chioma Chats. Chioma Chats. Say Chioma Chats. Chioma Chats. Chioma Chats. Say Chioma Chats. Chioma Chats. Say Chioma Chats. Chioma Chats. Say grab a snack and bring it back. Hey, Chioma Chats. It's Chioma Chats. Say hey, get it. Yes. Hope you guys love the intro per usual. I'm back on your screen once again. I'm pumping out these videos. By today's title, this one is very touchy, so trigger warning if you are, someone that can't handle a lot of these allegations that we've seen between Halle Bailey and DDG. You guys already know we're gonna kind of be getting into some very complicated waters. So today's video is not for me to choose sides. It's more about me kind of peeling back the layers here. We're gonna be talking about this ongoing situation between DDG and Halle Bailey, including a lot of the disturbing allegations and the toxic dynamics and just the role of mental health and the receipts, and most importantly, the safety of their baby Halo. Now, I do want to be very clear once again before I even start, this is honestly a very sad story when it's all said and done. There are no winners to me in this story, just two public figures kind of unraveling in front of the whole entire internet while trying to co-parent a young baby. And in the middle of it is a child who didn't ask for any of this. I'm just going to be honest with y'all, I'm not here to cape for either side. This is like DDG and Halle part like 3 or 4 that I've done in this whole entire saga, dealing with the whole custody stuff and their baby and the breakup. And I've gone through the court documents with this one. I've seen videos and I've seen the text messages, the screenshots, we'll get into that, and all of the social media posts. And honestly, y'all, the only conclusion I came to in this is that all of these things can be true. Two people can be held accountable. This isn't about being a fan of one or the other. It's really just taking a critical look at what happens when a relationship is toxic on both ends, and where there's also definitely emotional immaturity, manipulation, mental health issues, alleged abuse, and way too many people watching this online. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. Thank you to NIGERIAN for sponsoring today's video. Let's be real, y'all. Life is a lot right now. And with that, mental health can quietly take a back seat. And that's exactly why I want to push y'all on to NIGERIAN. NIGERIAN makes it easier than ever to take control of your health right from home. Whether it's birth control, skincare, weight management, or mental health support, they offer affordable expert level care that's tailored to you. And the best part, you don't need to step into a doctor's office. Everything happens completely online. So if you've been struggling with anxiety, depression, or just feeling off lately, NIGERIAN can help you start your treatment journey fast. You can fill out your consultation 100% online, and a licensed medical provider will create a treatment plan that fits your unique lifestyle. NIGERIAN accepts insurance for many treatments, and even if you're not covered, they work to keep prices very affordable. So whether you're dealing with anxiety and depression, postpartum shifts, or something even deeper, NIGERIAN is here to help. Taking control of your health starts right here. Go to nurx.com/queenchioma to get started, or just click the link in my description and pin comment down below. That is nurx.com/QUEENCHIOMA. And thank you to NIGERIAN again for sponsoring today's video. So my first point is, two things can be true. There is definitely dual accountability and also just the reality of a toxic relationship. And honestly, a lot of us have been in one. I know I have, right? So let's just start here. Both DDG and Halle have made very damaging decisions, and both kind of need to be held accountable, because this is not just a simple case of a victim versus a villain. I think both people play a role here. This is really a pattern of mutual toxicity playing out in the public eye, and it is very, very messy. Now, before I even continue further, I did want to read the text messages. I know most of us have honestly seen them. They've been all over the blogs, but DDG recently released text messages in his 100+ paper lawsuit, basically trying to get a restraining order on Halle Bailey. And I'm a little bit conflicted because I keep seeing reports on the blog saying that he was denied the restraining order, but I also see ones that say that he was granted the restraining order. So I'm a bit confused. I think he was granted it, but I don't know, because everything's kind of different. But we're gonna look at these text messages. Let me pull them up here. Okay, so we have text messages from 2022. We also have some from 2024. So Halle is basically going off on him. She says, answer the effing phone, answer the effing phone. I'm gonna try one more time. If you don't answer, it's over forever. I'm not playing, Daryl. That's it. DDG says, I just want to be left alone, please. Halle then says, I'm calling for help. I have a knife. Then she says, I'm calling for help again, but why don't you care? Do you? Then she says, okay. And then he says, have a knife for what? That was in 2022. That was obviously before she had a baby. And to me, it just kind of seems like something had to have been said for her to crash out like this. Like, I do not believe at all for one bit that a woman is just going off like this and saying that she has a knife and she's crashing out because of no reason. Now, do I think that's very possible? Yes. But in what we know of this situation, I have to use context clues. I think something probably led to this, but that doesn't all the way absolve Halle, and we'll get into that. So then in 2024, which was around this time last year, Halle says, this is proof you leave me hanging as a mother. That's crazy. She says, you don't step up when I need you to. I'm begging. I just found out you slept with Lala in Mexico. And apparently Lala is one of DDG's female friends. And although I do think friendships can be strictly platonic, I don't think they were strictly platonic, me personally, but hey. That's just me. The other thing, that you leave me hanging as a mother, is crazy because DDG likes to promote that he's a good dad. And I think DDG is an active father for what we see. But I do think part of him and his social media presence and his fatherhood, it gets too intermixed where it kind of comes off that this baby halo is kind of used to promote what he does online. Then she says, I'm begging you. I just found out you slept with Lala in Mexico. And then she says, I'm going to off myself tonight. My son will not be around for it. I hate you forever. You can have him and let her be his mom. Whoa. And I'm going to get into that, but just initial thoughts. I don't think that makes Halle look the best because it does kind of show some emotional instability. Of course, we can look at postpartum. We can look at the fact that she's going through a lot, but I think in the case of everything, that just doesn't really look the best. And then DDG responds back to that and says, I can't believe you're acting like this, which is crazy because you probably caused her to act like that. Moving on, she says, I hate you. You are the most horrible person I've ever met. I wish I didn't have to fight with you, but you continue to let me down every time. And then speak about exchanging my son and a money deal for views. Whoa. You see what I'm talking about? You know, it seems about views and his platform being rich and famous. Then she says, and openly flirt and help every other woman in the world but me. This is the mother of his child, by the way. Then she says, you hate me and you want me to die. Then she says, I want to die because of you. And then she says, I will die because of you. This is some very serious, you know, things to say, especially about someone who you have a baby with, especially someone who you were in a relationship with, and we kind of perceive the relationship to be sort of kind of, you know, not necessarily healthy, but at least it seemed like they felt like everything was good. So moving on, maybe about 2 months after those messages, this is now May of last year, Halle says, I just thought we'd do what I wanted to do today since it's Mother's Day. And then she says, but if you really want to go, you can. Then she says, I just got home to pack. And then she says, hello, because he's not responding. Then DDG says, if you don't come back here, I'm going to call the police. I don't want you to do something stupid. I'm going to give it 5 minutes. You have a son. I know you took my Swiss cheeser. The next one I don't see is kind of redacted, and it says the Swiss cheeser has no safety because she was saying, you know, I have a Swiss cheese and all of that. So I know there's more messages. Those were like the 4 messages that kind of alarmed me. Let me put this down. So with all of those messages, basically DDG filed a restraining order. He tried to get one, and he claimed that Halle has repeatedly threatened to harm herself. And from the court documents, there are indeed obviously text messages that kind of suggest that. And to me, that's serious and that shouldn't be downplayed. I know the internet wants to just kind of hate DDG and ride for Halle, or some people do want to hate Halle and ride for DDG. But I think when those types of statements are made, whether it be years ago or recently, that should not be downplayed. Because if people want to talk about mental health and where people may be, when you say things like you want to die or you want to off yourself, I think you have to take that stuff seriously. And when you factor in that they share a child, I understand a little bit why DDG might be concerned about the emotional environment around baby Halo, but I also think he adds to it. A mentally unstable parent or parents can absolutely cause distress. press, even unintentionally. But here's where his credibility to me gets kind of shaky. This is the same man whose mom literally was the person who I think has filed all this paperwork for him. DDG did not wake up and decide to be father of the year, okay? He was literally at DreamCon. He was at Streamer University. I was watching him days before this whole court thing, you know, came public. So to me, it's given like, oh, I'm gonna use this legal strategy, even though I'm not really concerned about everything. Because let's be very honest, his mother has been managing his career and his image for years. And I think she's the one that's pulling the strings behind the scenes. Now, pivoting back to Halle, because like I said, two things can be true, right? She is not innocent in this as well. If she really did track him with an air tag, like they're saying, not once, but multiple times, to me, that is disturbing. And if this was the other way around, y'all would be saying like, oh my God, this man is a stalker. He's weird. He's this, that, and the third. So we got to just hold people accountable. I know some people are trying to say like, oh, well, she just wants to know where the whereabouts of her child is. And yeah, 50% of that is probably true. But the other half is, I'm pretty sure she was trying to run down on whomever he may have been with, trying to see if she's cheating. Trust me, I've been crazy. I've been a thin line between love and hate. I've been there. So I know the tactics. Not trying to say it's funny, but I've been there. But stuff like that is invasive and it is controlling. And popping up on somebody in public like she allegedly did, that they're saying at the Beverly Hills movie theater, I do think that is dangerous and possibly traumatizing, not just for DDG, but also whoever else was involved. And I am trying to be fair because I think everybody has feelings involved in this. I know people just want to rag on DDG and I'm not, you know, making excuses for him, but I'm just letting everybody know that you have to humanize everyone involved, but most importantly, the child. And I also think it's very clear from the court filings that Halle has had emotional breakdowns. She's used threats of abortion during arguments and said deeply hurtful things, which I'm sure DDG has as well. That's not okay either. At the same time, a lot of her behavior seems to be reactive behavior. I think this is someone who is responding to someone disrespecting her, hurting her, playing her, lying to her, whatever it be. And it's not excusable, but it's also kind of worth understanding as well. And there are text messages where she's clearly begging for basic communication, asking why he's ignoring her. I even saw something where she said that he likes to put his phone on airplane mode. That is so manipulative. And he basically is withholding any type of affection. And when someone is already struggling emotionally, especially during postpartum, that kind of like stonewalling, honestly, can really push them into a panic, which I think is what the text messages are showing. You can see the unraveling happening in real time in her words. She's manic. She literally can't even spell right. I have been there before. But again, that doesn't justify tracking someone, popping up, or throwing the child in the middle of adult chaos. This is why I say this isn't about Halle being crazy or DDG being a good dad or a bad dad or whatever. It's about emotional warfare happening between two young people who clearly should not have had a child together. I also want to mention the dysfunction that's been kind of simmering for a while, even before the baby. The text that Halle had sent in May 14th, that didn't sound like a new issue. Her talking about the Mother's Day and him not caring, that sounded like a whole cycle. To me, this is a cycle of pain, a cycle of miscommunication, a cycle of gaslighting and control, and a cycle of emotional neglect from both ends. Halle has definitely said some deeply manipulative things, and although I do think it's reactive, I do think it's manipulative at times as well. DDG has allegedly done some deeply harmful things, and I actually believe them. Nobody here is fully innocent, and that's why I can't get behind all of these fans and stan wars where people are choosing teams based on who they like. Like, this is not Team Mermaid or Team Moonwalk in Calabasas, okay? This is a situation where a child could end up hurt physically, emotionally, or both. So before y'all rush to defend your fave, you gotta literally ask yourself, would you want your sister or your brother dating either one of these people? Because this is definitely not relationship goals like they try to push on the internet. This is also a lesson for both of them. And honestly, the biggest lesson is be careful who you have a child with. We told both of them this, because when the romance dies and all that's left is custody battles and court filings and bruises, who's really suffering here? Obviously the baby. Now, moving on to point number 2, the public paper trail that I've definitely kept up with, and basically what the court documents actually reveal. Like I said, I did look through all of this. A lot of people are arguing on Twitter and TikTok and YouTube based off of like how they feel about each other and not just about the facts here. This situation didn't just explode overnight, okay? It's been spiraling for months, maybe even years, okay? So DDG filed for a temporary restraining order against Halle, and the document includes a series of alarming claims, everything from emotional instability to property damage to stalking, and he did attach screenshots of text messages, alleged dates of incidents, and even references to voice memos where Halle Halle is supposedly threatening to end her life. I did read the transcript on that. And also she said she was going to take the baby. And I think that's crazy. I do think when Halle filed her stuff, we believed her. And now that DDG has filed his stuff, I don't think it's fair to just not believe him, because we all can see that both of them have played a role here. But again, here's the thing. Most of this evidence is basically subjective, okay? There's no police reports attached to DDG. There's no photos of injuries. There's no medical records. Actually, he did have one photo of his finger being like slashed, so I'll give him that. But a lot of it is just screenshots of text that could very easily be missing context. And honestly, when I first saw the text, I thought they were fake, but most people are running with it being real, so I'll take it as it's real. So it doesn't mean that they're false. It just means, to me, it's kind of incomplete. And when someone's mom is the one writing half of these filings, like in this case, to me, it just raises eyebrows, because yes, DDG's mother is listed multiple times as the person assisting in compiling the filings. To me, it just kind of seems strategic, like a PR move kind of disguised as like a legal move, for real, for real. And honestly, speaking of strategy, let's talk about timing. DDG filed this order right around the time Halle allegedly told him she was planning to go no contact, right? It feels reactionary, like I've said, like a control move, a final attempt to kind of flip the narrative and say, look, I'm the stable one, she's the problem. And if she was the problem all this time, you would have filed something. And I get it. He did say he didn't want to take her to court because he didn't want to ruin her reputation. And I do think part of that may have been true, but if it was really that bad, brother, you probably should have filed, right? If she really was that bad. So to me, it kind of seems like cause and effects. Again, there might be parts in this that are true, but to me, it's still suspicious how all of this suddenly became a legal emergency the moment that he lost access to her and the baby, and the moment that Halle actually filed her court stuff. So Halle has filed stuff publicly as well. She has been granted a restraining order. To me, that was like saying something without saying something, right? She knows how to move in silence, and I think she's gotten a lot of praise for that because she is media trained. She has been since childhood. I really do want to see this video that she has of like a ring camera of him going off, because I want to see these things as well. Let's not pretend like DDG is some reliable narrator either, because this is the same man who has been accused of emotional manipulation by several different women, cheating by several different women, gaslighting in 2 past relationships. We have one with Ruby Rose and also one with Kennedy Simone, and those women didn't just walk away quietly. Ruby specifically alleged emotional abuse and DDG playing the victim every single time that she spoke up. So to me, this sounds very familiar. And what really complicates this paper trail is the text messages themselves. There are moments where Halle is clearly spiraling, right? She's spiraling for sure. She's sending long emotional rants. She's begging for love, even saying things like, I'll just disappear. And again, I have been there, so I get where she's coming from. I empathize with it. But you can also see the breadcrumbing, okay? You can see DDG responding just enough, right? Just to keep her emotionally hooked, to make him look like he's not doing anything, but never taking any real accountability for his own behavior. And to me, that is psychological warfare. When a child is in the picture, that becomes very dangerous. I don't like the whole thing with the whole air tag, okay? DDG claims that he found one in his car after Halle popped up on him. And if that's true, it crosses a serious boundary. That's not romantic, okay? That's not just a baby mama being crazy. That is unnecessary surveillance, and it's not okay, even if you're hurt or afraid. But again, the reverse is also true too. The paper trail is honestly messy, it's incomplete, and honestly deeply triggering if we're being real. We are watching 2 people spiral through screenshots and affidavits, and nobody wins when the receipts only tell like half the story. So in conclusion, I'm basically holding everyone accountable and putting baby Halo first, because I'm kind of tired of talking about this, and I'm kind of tired of the back and forth. I knew it was going to get a lot bigger and deeper than what it was. But again, this whole entire thing is very, very complicated, and it's honestly painful to see. Like, both Halle and DDG have made serious mistakes that we've seen, and both have kind of suffered in their own ways. And I think we have to acknowledge that 2 things can be true at once. Like I said, Halle could be struggling with her mental health, which does include postpartum challenges. While DDG's alleged abusive behavior cannot be overlooked or excused, he may have his points too. And postpartum mental health is often misunderstood and weaponized, which is all I'm seeing on the internet. People are dismissing it as if she's just trying to say this for no reason, but nah. And at the same time, abusive behavior, whether it's physical, emotional, psychological, whether you're stalking someone, hitting somebody, all of that has to be addressed. To me, both parties have responsibility themselves, each other, and above all, the child. Baby Halo deserves to be raised in a safe, safe, loving, and stable environment. And I think everybody needs to just be striving towards that. He needs to be far removed from the toxicity and the public drama that basically surrounds his parents at all times. And I think both parties do play into it. I'm just tired of hearing about it, but I do, at the end of the day, wish all of them the very best. I will definitely be praying for that baby. So that is it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Please let me know your commentary on my commentary down below. What do you think? What do you know? Let me know. I do want to thank our sponsor, Nurex. Whether you're dealing with anxiety and depression, or even postpartum shifts, or something even deeper, just know that Nurex is here to help. Taking control of your health starts right here. You guys can go to nurex.com/Queen Chioma to get started, or just click the link in my description box. Thank you to Nurex for sponsoring today's video. And last but not least, as always, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and follow me on all of my social media networks. And I will see y'all in my next video. Bye, y'all.
They was telling me to free me. And yeah, he called me Chi-Chi. He grabbing on my Chi-Chi. Saying what you mean with the team, green, white, so I rock to the beat, oh yeah. And I shake on the beat, oh yeah. Few bands for a feature, some of my money know they spoil. Chioma, I'm hot, I bring water to a boil. Come on, one time for the melanin girls, skin popping in the sun. Let me hear you one time, baby. Let me hear you one time. Yeah, 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 yeah. One time for the African girls, and you know we get it done. Let me hear you one time, ladies. Let me hear you one time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. One shot, two shot. Come on, baby, come on. Put your hands to the top. Come on, ladies, come on. Skin